which is a Mercedes optional extension. That's what it means. Where you get an MO. An MO is just a Mercedes option, which is a standard tyre. If you get an MOE, it's an extension, which is a run flat. BMW do the same thing. Sometimes there'll be a dual fitment, sometimes they won't. Difference is, there is a difference between an MOE and a BMW run flat. They're constructed different. You can run BMW run flats on Mercedes, you can't run it the other way around. So you've got to fit what the manufacturer designed it for. If it's a Mercedes and it comes in with MOEs on, that's what they've got to go on. Same with BMW, you can't go fitting MOE run flats onto a BMW.
But you just have that on your site when you have the tyres, like you said.
It'll list,
MOE.
it'll run down.
And it has like Mercedes and stuff.
It'll run down what it's, it suits, a description.
I haven't done a lot with run flats, no.
I just learned the MOE thing, like.
What's something super common? A few options, Russell.
Wrong, Sean.
What's got a few run
25, 45, 17 probably would be the, I'm guessing.
So if you're searching at like normal tyres, how will you get to it? Let's find some Pirellis. You'll have all the comments here. So it will say generic,
and then see they have
asymmetric,
like Porsche.
Porsche 911, they'll say Audi A3, asymmetric, they'll also say here, asymmetric and run flat. They'll have all the writing there for you.
Yeah.
So if someone turns up and they've got the Mercedes, CLA, it's exactly the information that you need. BMW 3 Series. Another Audi A4, another Audi, so there's like one size alone, there's like 10 different Pirellis for 10 different cars, but the information's all there for you.
Yeah.
But say they came in with an Audi, but you guys were out of stock, could we put the BMW ones on?
If you're not sure, it pays the check. If Russell's the best point of call, otherwise give me a call, give the office guys a call. It's best if you can to keep it the same. For instance, like you've got two Audi options here, the 91Ys AOs, one's the Audi A4. Not a huge problem to swap them around. If you're not, some like Mercedes and BMW are quite good to swap, but when you start talking about Porsche or Lamborghinis or real high-end cars, you want to be very
That's when you go,
careful
it's where it's more specialised.
because they're super fussy, and the gearboxes and transfer cases in the cars are super particular as well. The last thing you want to do is cause damage to a gearbox or something. So if you're not sure, please call, and we'll.
Even the guys in the call centre can help you. If you can't get hold of me, if you can speak to Kyle or Scott, they can give you a bit of a reference as well. There is different sizes for different vehicles. Even though it's the same spec, it might be a 275 35 19. One might have a Lambo fitment, one might have a Ferrari fitment. They'll both be different in ODs. Even though they're the same size tyre, they're for different vehicles. Or they might have an Audi one, an R8.
You've got the three of them side by
Side by
side. They'll be
side,
different
and the
sizes.
casings will actually be different,
They're
even
not
though
identical.
they're the same size. So that's why we're specific to the vehicle, rather than have a generic tyre like that is. That's generic, it'll fit anything. It's not an OE fitment product, so that'll fit anything in a 205, 55, 16. But when you're talking stuff like, it's a Tesla, it's a VW fitment, they actually fit the actual vehicle they're designed for. So that's a little bit different than where we go with being Pirelli. Most of our stuff is OE fitments, and that's what the best thing is to stick by. If it comes in the brand of the car, stick to what it is. And also, you might get people say, oh, it's a P0. And it's actually a PZ4, fourth generation P0. That's what it means. There's a new one coming up now too. There's a fifth generation coming up, but I won't get confused with that. So basically, that's our entry to middle range product. Power G, asymmetrical, very quiet, got a tread wear of about 300. So you're going to get reasonably good mileage out of it. Depending on the vehicle, depending on what goes on, you know, it can change from vehicle to vehicle. Some people might get 40,000 Ks, some people might get 60. Again, depending on application, car, everything like that. So that's the go-to product with most of our range for replacement. That's, like I said, that's not an OE product, that's just a general generic product replacement. Next we move to Scorpion Verde, which is probably the next one. That's the next level up. This is more of an SUV product. It's OE, it's a VW fitment. Again, it's an asymmetrical tyre. A lot of people, we've had the PZ4s, which is an OE product, have gone to this because it's a bit of a softer riding product. Like you get a lot of the Volvos come out with them. They found the PZ4, because they spec the vehicles for a European spec and their roads, they put more of a high performance tyre on it, which is the PZ4, which is that one there. Where a lot of people over here don't really use it to the spec that it's designed for. Mileage difference, this would probably give you another 20 or 30% better miles. Still handles well. Like I said, it's still asymmetrical product. This one's got the seal inside, as you can see.
Roll it over if you want.
Oh yeah.
It's got the plastic on the inside. Really, that's for if it gets a nail, you can still drive on it. Your gauges will, especially the vehicle it goes on, the gauges will tell you that it's deflated. So you'll go and pump it up and you can drive it to a place of repair. Trying to repair them? Probably not. So
Punches a pain, 'cause you've got to clean all that out.
you've got to clean all that out, cut it, fold it back, do a repair. The best thing is to sit, and you probably find the things have been underinflated and run flat anyway. So you sell them another tyre.
So a lot of them on the website will say SI, so seal inside. And they'll be on the tyre as well. Will be SI on the tyre.
Do all the Scorpion ones have that in them?
Not all of them, no. Depending on the model, but like I said, like Daniel said, on the website it will tell you
Oh.
what's in it.
Sometimes you see too, there'll be the exact same tyre, like identical, but one will be seal inside for a little bit more money, and then there'll be the non-seal inside. But you can tell the customer, hey, for $20 more, this is what seal
This
inside
is the correct product for the vehicle, so that's what you should put on.
And this is what
So-
it does. It helps with punches and stops slow leaks and stuff, so you can.
It even
drive-
tells you on
drive
the
to us
label,
and fix
it'll
it.
give you a rundown on the label. It'll give you the seal inside, so if you do get it, you know what it is. SI being seal inside.
Would that also help with the noise cancelling?
A little bit probably, but the noise cancelling one is probably the best one. That's more for punctures. That's what it's designed for. Less puncturability, so you can drive it. Like I said, your gauge will probably tell you that the tyre's deflating, so you can go and pump it up and still drive, then go and take it to a place of repair or replacement. It's usually 9 times out of 10 it's replacement, because the nail or whatever goes into the tyre might be on an angle like that, so they can't actually drill it properly and repair it. Sometimes it's alright, it goes in like that, then the seal inside folds over because of the heat generated, and that's how it seals it, so you can get away with it. Alright?
Yeah, they're a pain for the boys to do punches on, 'cause you have to clean all that stuff out of the way.
It's
Do a
got a
protection
little
there.
tyre so I can show you.
We did one the other day.
Like no.
Yeah, if you see seal inside, don't be afraid to say no. 'Cause there's a
Do you know
long
all
time
the
for the boys.
distinguishing marks on the tyre, what they mean, like the DOT numbers and everything? Do you want me to explain that to you or not? You're right with that?
Give them a rundown. Come over, Kristen.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got a DOT number. What that basically means, anything that's sold in the States has to have a DOT number, Department of Transport. Okay, it goes through a certain certification, so it meets the criteria of something being sold in the States. Anything that's got a DOT number cannot be sold in the States, so therefore that's why they send it over here as well. The numbers are, that gives you the month, 13th week, 2023. So it will go from 1 to 52, so that will give you an idea of how old the tyre is. Alright?
And every tyre should have that somewhere on
Yep.
the tyre.
It'll have it somewhere.
We look at it when we do trade-ins.
Yeah. Just so you know, and also when you're selling a product, if you get a Juby or someone selling you something cheap, you look at how old it is. 'Cause it's only got a 5 years manufacturing date. So, and also, tread where rubber goes off.
Yeah.
So the older the tyre, the harder the compound's going to be.
How old do you take the trade-ins?
No, what is it?
About 5 years.
Yeah, pretty much over that.
We've got a marking, I'll just see. Marking.
What you see on the side, or?
I'm just trying to find the tread wear. It's inside outside, so it's already marked inside outside, so it'll tell you which way to put the tyre on. It's got inner and outer, if that's okay. This one, see, it's got a tread wear of 400.
Do you know what
Which
the true means?
It's which on the standard in the States, they give it like 1 out of to 100, and it's 4 times that amount of what it will do. So it's pretty good mileage tyre at
So-
400.
So it's a sort of a general rule of thumb. of what sort of case you do. Around, for example, our race tyres, our Nankings, like semi-slit race tyres are 80 true wear, which is really, really soft. And you'll get something like that, and it's 400. You can do, some people do 600. I've seen ones higher than 600. I think one of our Toyo highways about 680. So the higher the tread wear number, basically the more K's it's saying you should expect out of the tyre. But the low tread wear, for example, the Nanking race tyre 80 is super soft, it's super sticky, it's made for grip. So it's sort of, you get a bit of a trade-off sometimes in what you'll get. But yeah, it's just a bit of a guide.
So this one is the PZ4 pattern. It's called P0, PZ4. Some people will call it just the P0. That's where the confusion can be. But the early one was the first generation P0, then they went to the PZ4. This one's a TO, which means Tesla tyre. That's how you can tell. I've got a sheet, I'll show you the sheet afterwards, and I'll get a print off and you can do it. It's also an electric car tyre, so being Tesla, they're all electric. So it's designed a little bit different, basically because of the weight of the vehicles. So you've got to put an electric tyre back on the vehicle. You don't have to, but to get the mileage and the handling and everything else, you might put something, hopefully you might put a half price tyre on it, well it's going to give you exactly what you get. This might do 50,000 Ks, you might put something cheaper on, and it'll give you 20. So when you work your cents cost per K out, this one is still a better product.
Yeah.
Also, it's a noise cancelling system, it's a PCNS, which is a pro noise cancelling system. So that foam in there, that breaks down the barrier of the sound, so it makes it quiet on the car. And that's what a lot of people
What product you like?
want these days.
You know?
Yeah. Every
Another-
time I see the phone one, I'm like, oh yeah, noise cancelling.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
noise cancelling.
Another thing you don't really want to do a puncture repair on.
If they do get one, can you do it? No.
You have to cut it out, is that correct?
Yeah, you
Do
would,
you have
but
to put it
again,
back on again, or?
you look at the side of the tyre, because it's probably going to be underinflated, and it'll have the marks on the side of the tyre of
Run flat.
underinflation. So therefore you'd sell them on a product.
But if it's not run flat, potentially yes, you can scrape off the,
You can scrape it off.
Foam,
It's
and
probably
then
going
do
to
a
take you over an hour to do
And then
this.
put it back in.
well, it's ripped off, it's not going back in, it's just going to be a
You're only
big
cutting
gap
out a
on the
little
foam.
percentage of it.
But it'll be so time consuming for the boys to do. You got to cut all that out, clean it up, drill it out, you know, put your patch in, do all your stuff.
It's probably going to take you at least an hour. So if the person wants, the consumer wants to
We can
pay,
get more money off that.
well, the consumer,
100% don't charge a standard rate if you do try.
no, it's going to be on an hourly rate. So you'd be looking at $150. So you know, well, that's what you're going to do for an hour.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so on that side. This is the other one. This is our 18 plus model. This is our four-wheel drive. This is symmetrical tyre, so it's not asymmetrical. So it's the same either side to the other. Very good mileage tyre. It's got a tread wear of about 640. So compared to the other car tyres, you're probably going to get, on an average, this is a standard size 265, 65, 17, which fits 90% of all the four-wheel drives get around. At least average, I would be looking about the 80,000 Ks, somewhere around there.
Oh.
As long as you, again, application, if you're doing your rotates and your pressures and everything else. I sell a lot of these to John Andrew Ford as replacement when they do the 20-inch mags and tyres on them, and that's what they're running on 265s and 285 50s on them, and they're loving it. Very quiet, handles very well, and so far they've been getting really good mileage out of them. So again, cents per K and the product that you've got, it is in the area, it's quite a very competitively priced product.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you say to people it's friendly, they go, oh, it's worth it. You know.
Yeah.
But if you start pricing it, we usually have those at a reasonably good price.
That information too, so you've got that little blue dot, that little blue eye like that shows you on the wheel. The tyres, you can see you've got down the bottom there, you've got your tread wear. In that particular case, that Pirelli P7 at the very bottom is 260. So all of our tyres will have that as well. You've got the tread depth, which is 8mm there. You've got the ply rating. So all the information's on the website for you. So yeah, so if you put in that all-terrain, you'll see that it's 640.
640 tread wear.
For example, that Pirelli P7 Centurado is more of a performance tyre, so it's a lot lower at 260. And yeah, so all of our tyres, all of our brands should have that information loaded for you, so you can look at the difference and go, yep, the Pirelli's 260, the Faro's 400, the Nankin race tyres 80, so you can see what's going to be softer, what's going to be longer lasting.
Oh, okay.
So it's just the general 4 patterns that are the most common ones that we sell in our ranges normally. Like you get the P7s and the P6. It's too confusing because we have them in some sizes, not in others. Usually they're an original equipment fitment, like they could be an Audi tyre or something in a certain size that we've got a good number of at a good price. That's why we bring them in. Normally we don't bring them in unless we make something else. If we don't do a Power G, that's what we'll bring in or something like that. But that is the 4, probably 80% of our range that we would sell, just so you understand. I don't want to give you too many products because it gets too confusing, just so you can understand what the range is anyway. Any questions that you want me to? I'm not too sure. All the top end stuff will have, like I said, I've got a list here. I'll get a copy for you. This gives you a list of what the fitments are, what the meanings of the vehicle, so you can understand.
One or two of them for the office.
Yeah.
But I'll get the marketing department to print them off and send them out to you. So if you need to look, you need to know what you're looking on the website.
See if we can do a bit more of them starting to come in now, big fancy Mercedes and BMWs
And Teslas as well.
Yep.
Mm.
And there's a huge difference in performance, especially stuff in something like a Tesla, from going to Pirelli to an entry-level product.
Oh, awesome, guys. Thanks for coming and showing us. Like Gordon and a few of the guys have been grieving, since Ryan left. The Pirelli sales have just
I
dropped.
noticed that, yeah. Look at that.
The Pirelli sales have dropped like a
Well,
lead.
that's why Ding and I decided to do this. We'll give you some information that maybe it might enthuse you to sell a bit more. At least you've got a background on what the product is and what it's all about, rather than trying to sell something you don't know anything about. So,
Well, knowledge is king, eh? And, a little bit of knowledge. And I've recorded this as well, so we can look back on it.
no, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, any questions you want to know and you don't know tonight, give me a ring tomorrow and I can answer them. Or if you get a consumer comes and